Do people really think that the scientific researchers who have dedicated their lives to studying autism are just hiding the causes or not asking the questions that Trump and RFK Jr. are now bravely asking? There are literally thousands of scientific papers published about autism. What do you think this administration is using when they're looking at data about autism? They're using the data that scientific researchers who have dedicated their lives to asking these complex questions have compiled, and they're relying on people to not understand any of this. They're acting as if scientific researchers have not been asking these questions, and so now they alone, Trump and RFK Jr. and the other politicians, are going to save us. And they're going to ask the questions that no one's been asking by using the data that the scientists who have been asking these same questions have compiled. Thousands of scientific papers have been published about autism. There are twin studies going back to the 1970s that show a strong genetic component. There are large-scale genomic studies that have identified over 100 genes associated with autism. There are ongoing environmental studies, like the CHARGE study out of UC Davis, that over the last 2 decades have examined everything from maternal fever to parental age to air pollution. And it's scientific researchers who have asked the question and studied maternal acetaminophen use in autism. Where do you think RFK Jr. is even getting that idea? They didn't just on their own ask these questions and come up with answers in 9 months. The scientific community is well aware of current evidence on Tylenol use and autism. They are the ones who did the research. And that research is inconsistent, observational, and confounded by other variables. There is no causal evidence at this time. Also, the evidence that maternal fever is linked to autism is stronger and more consistent than the evidence about acetaminophen in pregnancy. What is incredibly obvious from that press conference is that these politicians want you to believe that nearly all of our scientists and medical professionals are just all conspiring to not find definitive causes of autism. And that all of these scientists who, again, dedicate their lives to studying this exact thing couldn't figure it out. But Donald Trump and RFK Jr. could in 9 months by using gold standard science that we have absolutely no transparency about. Who is doing the gold standard science for them? Shouldn't we know? Where's the report and who are the authors? When Trump says we should change the vaccine schedule based on how he feels, is that it? Just change medical care based on how a politician feels? Is that how we're doing science now? I get that families want definitive answers and they deserve them, but just because science hasn't offered a neatly packaged explanation yet for an incredibly complex condition doesn't mean we fill that void with bullshit. Because now, instead of helping, they're misleading an entire country. They're hurting moms and kids who are desperate for answers, and they're making it even harder to actually understand autism and find the truth.